We're bringing in federal criminal defense attorney Mark Reichel. Mark, it's good to see you again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
So I want to ask, as an attorney, Mr. Trump absolutely coming out, and the first thing he's talking about this fraud verdict tonight, your reaction to the ruling and also his words so far tonight.
You know, he is allowed to criticize the ruling. I think everybody would agree with that. If that's happening to any one of us, we'd want to, be able to criticize the ruling. It's also a civil case, so, it's not going to sway many judges, even appellate judges that will hear the appeal in this case. It's not going to sway them. It's had an impact on this trial judge, there's no dispute. But really, judges and lawyers can be dispassionate, look at things on their facts, and apply the law. So I'm not so sure this is going to hurt him in any way. It's great for his base. It shows he continues to fight, which is really what he needs to do, because none of us, I've never seen in my entire life someone charged in this many jurisdictions with serious cases, with this many different cases.
Mark, I want to follow up on something you said, because the judge said before that Mr. Trump's, quote, complete lack of contrition and remorse borders on pathological, and he and his family, quote, denied reality. Do you think that we could have seen a different outcome if, say, Trump and his family came out and admitted any fault or apologized?
Yeah, this was not a jury trial. This was a judge. So each one of us, this judge is a human being. So the typical factors they have and they weigh in a decision include everything. You can't really put things in small intellectual boxes and keep them categorized and not let them color your judgment. So I think if they had taken a different approach, which is the opposite of how Mr. Trump ever fights in these cases, if they took a different approach, more conciliatory, I think the verdict may have been a little bit less in damages and so forth. But now it's in. I mean, the numbers are in. He's made the finding. This is how much. So he's free now, okay, to have the same attitude. But that attitude costs him a lot of money.
And Mark, you mentioned Trump facing 4 different types of criminal trials across 4 venues or trials. Do you think the federal judge overseeing the federal election interference case could potentially pick a date that could impact the upcoming election?
Federal judges can do whatever they want. That's how the Constitution was set up. They're completely separate from political influences of the legislature or the executive. They're lifetime appointments, okay? So this federal judge could in fact say, look, what works best for the justice system is a trial on September 15th. And Trump will say, oh my gosh, that's when my trial, that's when the election is coming. The judge will say, that doesn't matter. Okay, and I'm a federal judge. Now, that's where I think the U.S. Supreme Court is probably going to get involved in this. If she issues a trial date before the election, he's going to immediately appeal that, and he may appeal that to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I think all eyes in America are going to be on the U.S. Supreme Court about that issue.
We appreciate it, as always. Mark Reichel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, John.